What's on Your Mind is sponsored by ACC 339 Dudley Road, New Star Radio 98.7 FM, Breakthrough Studios, and Reggae Jam Jam.
Good afternoon. Welcome to another program in the series of What's on Your Mind. The program is produced by Breakthrough TV, and I am Carl. How are you? Hope all is well with you guys. I gotta say, quickly, we are into what we call summertime, I think. The clock has gone forward. So we say we've gone 1 hour forward, because we was 1 hour backwards. So we've gone 1 hour forward, so which is actually marvelous. It's lighter now, It's lighter in the morning, and it's lighter as next month comes, and even June comes, May comes, it will be light until about 9:30, 10 o'clock in the night. So that will be absolutely marvelous. I want to say a big thanks to my guest I had on last week's program, which was our Miss Culture John. Miss Culture John, thank you for coming into the program. Absolutely marvelous. And the poem about the soup. You got me excited in my chair, and then you tell me it was about the soup. Oh my dear. Also, I got a very special guest in the program this afternoon, which is absolutely marvelous. I got wonderful Sister Maureen. How you doing, Sister Maureen?
I'm fine, thank you, Carl.
Welcome back to the program. Yeah? How's your day been?
Oh, busy day. Busy day.
You have to rush here.
And I have to rush here.
Yeah. That's sometimes. That's how it goes. Let me say welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you. And let's say, guys, we was actually planning on having a program this afternoon about talking about Women's Month, because it's the last, 29 days, isn't it today? It's the 29th, so it's the last days in Women's Month. Unfortunately, we was planning on having another two ladies in the studio, but they've actually not pulled out at the short notice. They give us actually short notice, which was, one of those ones. But because this is a live stream, we can't sort of re-record it, or we can't record it and put it out there, But we was gonna have Sister Maureen and another two ladies, in the studio. But as I say, the other two ladies backed out at the last minute, but it's just one of those ones. The show must go on. What do you say?
I was gonna say, sorry to scare them off.
No, the show must go on. That is how we see it. And I know you're a poet. You write books.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're also a part of this wonderful group.
Big Ship Alliance.
Big Ship Alliance.
Yes.
And it's the Big Ship Alliance is getting around.
Oh, you're getting around.
The Big Ship Alliance is getting around, aren't
definitely, yes, we're doing okay.
Yeah, because I saw the one at the Jam House, and I saw one where you actually the Simmer Down at somewhere.
That's right,
I saw the lineup for the Simmer Down.
That's right.
At the Midland Arts Centre.
That's right.
Yeah, I saw that lineup as well.
That's right, and we're at the Night Owl as well.
And you're at the Night Owl as well.
Yes.
That's absolutely great.
And other places as well, so look us up.
It is very good. It's absolutely marvelous. Big shout out to the Big Ship Alliance crew, Asha, Robbie, big shout out to you. And the bass player, what's the name of the bass player?
Ebony,
big
the
shout
only
out to
female.
Because she plays bass, and I'm a guitarist, so that's just gonna go. One of these days, I'm gonna invite her so we can have a jump together.
We'd love that.
So what have you been up to?
Well, what I've been up to is I'm writing my next book, so I'm just trying to complete that.
Serious?
Yeah.
And what is the name of your next book going to be called?
Right.
Any clue?
Well, there's two books in the background, really, but this book is called Pros and Cons.
Pros and Cons.
Like prose, Prose, poetry, pros and cons, yeah.
Wow, that sounds absolutely great. And as you know, we're going to talk about Women's International Month, or Women's Month, as we go on through the program, And what's your take on it? And have you ever been in a situation where what does it mean to you? As we go further in the program,
okay.
I'll actually what's it meant to you and what it means to women that you actually know and women who you actually see, women you'll be actually associated with, and and some of the women who's probably been your influence, and women have said also I'll give you a thinking about it because it's a live program, and women who actually you think will be of major influence for the next generation.
Okay.
Yeah, because we've always gone back and look at different women who sort of influence us. So there's women living in our time now who's got to think gonna influence the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lot to think about.
That's why, because this is a live program. I told you that's why I put you on the spot. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. When I say this is a live program, I want to say big shout out to you, Jennifer S. Wallace up there in Canada. Jennifer S. Wallace will be on show very, very soon. And she's actually a writer. She's also a teacher, and she's actually a writer. And she wrote this wonderful book, Miss G and Me, which is a marvelous book. We've had her on our program before, and I said she lives all the way up in Canada, far, far up. Big shout out to you, but she'll be on our program very, very soon. Yeah. She's on our program next month. And we've got quite a few different guests coming up our program next month as well. So keep it locked, I was just say, to Breakthrough TV. And I say, I'm Carl. I want to say a big shout out to all you guys as well who tuned in, you know what I mean? And I forget to say, woo, 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 clap, 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 clap. I'm getting excited now. My producer don't like me getting excited. See, I'm talking fast as well. He doesn't like when I get excited. I'm talking fast. Woo, 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 woo. It's 100th program.
Ooh.
Yeah. 100 program, you know what I mean, which is absolutely marvelous. And I tell you, in the early days, it was like, you know, it's like a fight. It was a struggle, you know what I mean? It's just, you know what I mean? But it keeps getting better, and it keeps getting better. We keep having guests. I remember in the early days, I had a mic, I had a headphone on me, and my mic was actually sitting on the table, you know what I mean? Because when we actually planned the show, we actually planned it to do is like a radio program.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I've had my headphone and the mic on the table, you know what I mean? So that was like, it was like doing a radio show. But originally we started on the program called The Car with the Sea Show. And what happened with The Car with the Sea Show? We used to have different people in where we actually talk about, it had different features. I had a feature like, I talk about different things, and I had guests in. I talk about different things like I would name, and this is a thing I also do on the radio, my Giant of Music, who are Giant of Music, which you hear that feature on the radio. And I've started using Giant of Music, and everybody start talking about Giant of Music now. Yes. So I started that. Yeah, I'm going to put claim to that. So I keep talking about Giant of Music. And so I had a feature on the radio, and then I start talking about it on Breakthrough TV. And my Giant of Music can be George Benson, it could be B.B. King, it could be Nat King Cole, it could be Shaka Khan, it could be Diana Ross, it could be Bob Marley, it could be Peter Tosh, it could be Bonnie Whaler. You see, so many. Yeah. That's
so
what
many.
I call James Brown, the great James Brown, you know. Gosh. So those are the artists I talk to, and I tell you a lot about this. My classic one was one of the which was Marcia Griffiths, you know what I mean? Classic Giants of Music. These are all what I call Giants of Music, you know what I mean? And there was also modern Giants of Music, you know what I mean, in our time, because they're also Giants in the music in our time. So I started with that feature, and then I used to actually feature local artists from around Birmingham, the West Midlands, and so on and so on. And I had one of the very first show we had was with a wonderful lady called Claire. Big shout out to you, Claire. And what happened with that program is that because of the COVID, and we couldn't sort of associate anymore in the studio. You know, we had to change that program, and we changed it, and we thought about, me and the producer think about it, what we should do, what should we do. And then we start thinking about, what's on your mind? So we didn't need anybody else in the studio to discuss, you know, the Giants of Music. So we just actually had just me, you know what I mean? We could do this with guests, or we could do it without guests. And many times we've done, and in the early days we started the program without guests because we couldn't sort of do it with guessing because of the COVID situation. So that was the whole idea of but those shows are still out there, and you can go and watch the Car with the Sea show. And there's, you know what I mean, I also talk about the late, not the late, Freddie McGregor. Freddie McGregor, before he became ill, you know, I talk about Freddie McGregor, you know what I mean, all those sort of artists, you know what I mean, which was what I call actually Giant of Music in the business, you know what I mean. So, and as I say, and we're going to go back to the program one of these very, very days. We're going to go back to it soon, you know what I mean. But at the moment, we got a lot of work to do, so we're going to go back to those shows, you know what I mean. As I say, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. Now, as you know, I always look at a few things that's happening across the world. And this week, Monday, Audrey Hale, she had 3 guns, and she went crazy at a school in Nashville, in the United States. And she actually killed 6 people, 3 students and 3 teachers she actually killed. And this is another mass murder in the United States. Since this year, there's been 130 mass killing in the United States. And in February, I actually touched on this, and there was a lot of mass killing in the United States in February. And actually, in February, I actually talk about this. And here I am, January, February, it's only March, and there's also another load of mass killing again in the United States. What do you think about that?
Wow, well, I just think it's terrible. I think in America, they're very scared, aren't they? Everyone carries a gun.
Yeah.
They have to carry a gun, and no matter how many people are fighting for them not to carry guns, they're still adamant they're going to carry guns. That's right, what's it about? What are they really scared about?
I don't know.
You know?
I think, but maybe, I mean, maybe it's the whole culture of the country, and the whole from the days of the whole westerns and the old cowboys, the old cowboy sort of thing. I actually came across a very interesting thing. And I was watching a program a couple of nights ago, and the guy who's actually reporting on the program, he was actually saying, they gone, they take it out. If I come to your house, let me go this. Let me do it this way. If I come to your house, and you say, so let's go out into the garden. You say, well, Carl, I'm planting some plants out there. I'm planting some trees out there. Just a general social conversation that we're having. But when you go to like somebody, who's a gun person in America, the first thing he takes out is his guns.
Yeah.
And he goes like this and he shows you his gun and he's giving it a good rub.
Okay. His pride and joy.
His pride and joy is giving it a good rub, and you know what I mean. And I just thought, wow. I'll say it's one of those you can't comprehend that at all. You know what I mean? Why and none of the parties even though a lot of the parties actually try to do something about it, none of them actually try to sort of stamp down it and say, or change the rules and I guess, and I've talked about this before, I guess the gun lobby as well is very, very strong. When you got a strong lobby, you know what I mean? When you got a strong lobby, that's what African Caribbean people, African Caribbean heritage people, what we need is a very, very strong lobby to fight different things. And if you've got that, you just never know what can happen. I had to put that one in. Because at the moment, you see how I twist it around and I turn it around? At the moment, we haven't got a very, very, what are you shouting, Carl? At the moment, we haven't got a very, 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 very strong lobby to fight for anything that is happening to Caribbean and African heritage people. Yes, that's our problem. I know some of you don't like it, but remember, I only deal in common sense. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. Let me move on. I need to move on. Now, this was also another terrible thing that's happened in the United States. Mississippi tornado. The Mississippi tornado just came, and it's actually left a lot of people totally shocked. What we call the storm chasers. They couldn't believe how quickly this thing has come. And it had, I think 25 people has been killed, you know what I mean? And it has left place devastated, totally devastated. It was only around for about 15 minutes maximum, you know what I mean? Wow. And the thing about this as well, one lady, she was actually, Dominic Green, she was actually in hospital giving birth to another child. And while she was in hospital giving birth to another child, her other daughter, her 2-year-old daughter, got actually killed in the terrible tornado. Which is just you can't even think about things like that. How terrible it is, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, sometimes a lot of us live in parts of the world where we don't sort of have anything like that. You know what I mean? You don't realize you take things for granted. You don't realize how lucky you really are when actually things about that happens. You know, when things like that happens. What do you think about those sort of things that happens?
No, it is true though. We are quite privileged here.
Yeah.
Though we did have a bit of one. Do you remember we had a tornado before?
Yeah,
many moons back.
King's Heath. It hit King's Heath
and Smallheath and Stratford. Yeah,
all around there. And Moseley, parts of Moseley, didn't they?
That's right, and it uprooted trees and everything.
Yeah.
So. But we don't have it on a grand scale.
No, we don't have it on a grand scale.
So
compared to other parts of the world that we actually have it, which is I say. And all we can say is big condolences to those people who got lost their lives and to the families, of those people who lost their lives in that tornado. And I know the rescue service are doing very, very well. That's one thing about these rescue services. They always go to the thing when it happens, and they do very, very well at trying to rescue people. And we say big congratulations to them, because they're what we call heroes, who actually helps, which is absolutely marvelous. Yeah. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. Now let me come to the UK. Now police are investigating claims, and it's towards a blackmailer, and it concerned Alison Hammond, the TV presenter, and she's allegedly been blackmailed. And West Midland Police, which is our sort of police force, they're actually investigating it. They've actually also arrested a man on the weekend. And this man was actually allegedly blackmailing her, and she was actually giving him thousands and thousands of pounds, allegedly, according to one newspaper in one of the according to one report in one of the well-known newspaper, you know what I mean? And she was actually giving this man thousands and thousands of pounds. And he actually blackmailed her for a £5,000 BMW also, you know what I mean? And as I say, and what this alleged blackmailer was actually trying to do, he was actually trying to blackmail her to sort of ruin her career, because you know Alison is doing quite well now, and she's actually from our parts of the world as well, you know what I mean? And she's actually doing quite well as well. So and she's got like she's one of the sort of first British African Caribbean descendants women in what I call a prime time spot on the television. You know how I talk about prime time spot? We never see many African Caribbean heritage people in the prime time spots on television. Well, she's one of those that's in a prime time spot on the television, which is absolutely marvelous. And this so-called blackmailer was actually trying to blackmail her to ruin everything. And you know how nasty people can be when they do something like that. You know what I mean? And, I do hope they sort her out, because all it takes is just a little bit of gossip. You know what I mean? And the whole system can get onto social media, and they can take you down. Yeah. You know what I mean? They can take you down.
Or just something you've probably done way back in the past. And someone finds it and wow.
And they can take you down.
That's
right.
You know what
I know.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. Now, let me move on. Now, Kamala Harris has been in Africa. And you know, Kamala Harris is the Vice President of the United States. And she's actually been in Africa because she's trying to basically, let me put it in my terms. Basically, she's trying to become more friendly with African countries, because, and this regards to the issue that actually regards to China, you know what I mean? Because China's got a lot of influence in Africa, and for China has influenced great deal in Africa, yes. And she's literally gone to Africa to assure African leaders that, listen, we're a better partner than the Chinese. You know, we can have a better partnership. We can be your friend better than the Chinese, also the Russians. So that's why she's gone there, to boost American friendship with the Africans. And she actually been to Ghana, she's been to Tanzania, and she's actually gone to Zambia. Yeah, and she's there last week, and I think she actually comes back there the start of April, she goes back to the United States. And I say she's actually trying to, so listen, we're a better partner than you. We're a better partner than the Chinese, so you should be our buddies. You should be our friends. I think that's what she's actually there, trying to, as I say, in common man's terms, putting it that way. That's what she's actually there in Africa trying to say. And as I say before, as you know, China is a heavy investor on the continent of Africa. So you just don't know what's going to happen, you know what I mean? And I know also some African countries are sort of reluctant to sort of support the war that is actually going on in Ukraine, you know what I mean? And because I know also a lot of African has been discriminated against, you know what I mean, in Ukraine as well, you know what I mean? Now, a lot of people don't talk about it, but it's a reality. We see it all the time, you know what I mean? It's not making the big news, but so a lot of those African countries are sort of concerned about how their people has been discriminated against in Ukraine. And even there's one British lady, a nurse in London, actually talk about the horrors that she actually went through to sort of get out of Ukraine when things was happening. I know when you're in a war-torn place, things gonna happen. Yeah. But what she was actually saying, this lady, she was actually saying she was trying to get on the train, and a lot of descendants, African people was trying to get on the train. And what they actually was doing in Ukraine, the Ukrainian soldiers and the Ukrainian people was actually getting on the train ahead. And they was actually saying, you can get on the train, but the people of African descendants, you can't get on the train, you know. So they was actually refuse them entry from getting on the train, which is actually ridiculous. If you're on the queue, if I'm Caucasian, or you're African descendants, or whatever descendant I'm from, or whatever descendants you are from, if I'm in the queue and we are all in the queue, we all get on the damn train and go. No discrimination against nobody. I know you laugh, Maureen. It's the reality of things. It's the reality of
Yeah,
things.
it is,
I
it
can't
is.
talk it any clearer than
No,
that.
you can't.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like you go get a bus, isn't it? If you
Yeah.
like you go get a normal bus, you just get on the bus and whoever in the queue, you get on the queue. You shouldn't
Exactly.
be, somebody couldn't tell you, oh, because you're African descendants, you shouldn't
Get
get
off
on the
the
train.
bus.
I know. I'm in that mood
You
today.
laugh, but it's painful, isn't it?
It is.
You
It
know?
is the reality of
Yeah.
things. It is very.
Yeah.
It is. You have to laugh, but it's the reality of things. I mean, discrimination serves nobody. You know what I mean? Discrimination serves nobody. You know what I mean? And that's the ridiculous. War or no war. If I say if you're in a war-torn country and you're on the list or you're on the queue to get out. You know what I mean? There's no use people discriminating and say you can't go, you can't go, and you can't go. All of us get out at the same bloody time.
Yeah, it's true.
Wow, I know. See, I'm making you laugh.
Yeah. But then with China as well, China and Africa,
Yeah.
like some of the Africans who are in China are experiencing
Exactly
racism
the same
as
thing.
well. So
You
you know,
discrimination.
discrimination.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
so,
exactly the same thing. You know,
so not good.
which is actually absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, Jamaica. Your time is here, Jamaica. Now, in Jamaica, on Friday the 31st of March, Public Passport, Immigration and Citizen Agency Office, PICA, will go live with what we call a new security electronic, or what we call e-passport. Yes. Now, this is actually a machine that actually is ready to read your passport. And the machine actually got a chip, an embedded chip in it that read your passport and read all the data that they've gotten you in your passport. So all of them say they can't find me there. They can't find me. I'm not doing anything. It's already in your passport. And that is coming. I think we actually use this in there. We actually use this in Europe. You know what I mean? Because many times you just go doop, and you've gone through. So it's an easier system. And I say Minister Andrew Winter actually announced this. And I say this is going ahead on the 31st of which is Friday of March. So guys, you look forward to that, yeah. Also, moving on to Jamaica still. Staying in Jamaica. Now, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness, on Wednesday, he actually formally mentioned the commissioner, the commission for, he actually got a group of people. Basically, he actually gets a group of people. And what they actually do, this group of people will actually oversee and advise and have an insight of basically the Britain, the Republic. So they have to give all the advice and look at all the information because Jamaica is trying to go Republic. So they got to give all the advice, have an insight, get all the information, and they pass it on and decide. They can't make the decisions, but they will actually pass the decision on and pass the decision onto the country, and then to make it easier for them to transfer from the monarch to become a republic. So as I say, he set up a group of people, a committee to do this, and they're looking into this. And this probably is going to take quite a little bit of time, a couple more years, you know what I mean? I must say as well, if Jamaica do decide to go republic, they will have to have a ballot, you know what I mean? They just won't take Jamaica into to be in a republic. They have to have a ballot. They'll have to actually ask the country, yeah, and then that will actually happen, yeah. But I know a lot of people saying Jamaica should go republic, and a lot of people saying Jamaica shouldn't go republic, and everybody's looking at their Barbados transition of being a republic. Do you think Jamaica should go republic, or is it a hard one? Are you going to sit on the fence?
I'm going to sit on the fence.
You're going to sit on the fence. Yeah, as I said, they will have to have they will have to have a referendum. Yeah, that is the word I was actually looking for. They have to have a referendum and decided what to do. Yes, you know what I mean. I did say vote on it, but a vote is the same as a referendum. Yeah. Right, so it will be interesting to see what happens about that. You know what I mean? And that is an interesting one because, yeah, as I say, it's one of those tricky ones. It is one of those tricky ones. You know what I mean? I can't. I haven't got a great deal to actually say about that, but it's just one of those ones that you don't sort of really you sort of really got to get your head around. Yeah. Maybe because we've been used to the way of things before, and the things got to change. So it's probably one of those ones you have to sort of refer to. Yeah. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. Now, moving on. Now, into the sports field. I'm going to talk about Nelson Piquet. Now, Nelson Piquet has to pay just under £1 million because what he aimed insult and slur and homophobic gestures at Lewis Hamilton. And this happens in 2021. Nelson Piquet is a 3-time F1 champion. Lewis Hamilton is a 7-time F1 champion. Sir Lewis Hamilton, I should say. And he's actually made racist, homophobic slur towards Lewis Hamilton. And this came after a race take place in 2021. There was actually racing at the British Grand Prix between, and there was an incident between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. And in an interview, Nelson Piquet was actually giving his verdict, and I say this is where he starts saying, you know, these nasty things. Well, Lewis Hamilton never stand for it, and Lewis Hamilton decided to take action, and now he finds he has to pay that just under $1 million for the slur that he's done aimed at Lewis Hamilton. So you must be careful what you say about people, or what you say about people, or what you say towards people. And I should know that myself. If you don't want to say it, you better sit on the fence. So as I say, Lewis Hamilton is the 7 times F1 champion, you know what I mean, which is, and you know, he was robbed out of that race anyway, you know what I mean, he was robbed out of that race, you know what I mean, and you know, but it's just one of those ones, and it's good to see that as well, you know what I mean, he takes action, you know what I mean, and you know, the trouble about that, the Brazilian, Nelson Piquet, he should have known better than that, you know what I mean, a guy at his age, you know, he should have known better than making slur like that, or just chopping off the top of your head like that, you know? So he should have known a lot better, so I must say Lewis Hamilton deal with it, and it's good to see that, you know what I mean, because I don't think any people who give slurs, you know, racial slurs or abuse at other people, I think they should actually be dealt with. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. Now, my next little thing as well is a celebration. There was a celebration that actually took place at the in London, celebrating the excellence of African and Caribbean heritage football descendants, and it actually takes place at Battersea Art Centre in London. And the celebration takes on another level, yeah. And I went into the Voice and I was looking at a few different comments that come from the Voice. And the Voice newspaper was actually saying, and some of the comments was actually coming from the Voice newspaper. Some of the comments was actually saying, basically what happens, it has took a long way to get to this, because over the years, say you have 50,000 fans and they go to a football match. And these supporters, what they call football supporters, there was hurling abuse at a lot of these African heritage and Caribbean heritage players at that particular period of time. And in the 1970s and in the 1980s, it seems to be the thing to do. They all get away with it. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
They all get away with it. So, and this, as I said, this celebration of all these players, or these heritage players, actually all came together. And players such as Mr. Clive Bess, Mr. John Barnes, Mr. Viv Anderson, Mr. Larry Cunningham, Mr. Sylvan Regis, they all went through this. You know what I mean? And as I say, football has come a long way since those days. It still goes on now, because we see the situation with soccer playing for England, and we see the situation on the media. This was in the media. We see also the situation where Marcus Rashford playing for England. So it's still there.
It's still there.
It is still there.
Or when those 3 black players what was it when it went for the, you know, the playing football, the main football it was. I don't watch football, mind. And the 3 black guys had to shoot, didn't they? And they missed the goals. It was for the World Cup.
Yeah, that was soccer. That was soccer. Rashford and yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
All that abuse they got.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Terrible.
Ridiculous, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
Bad.
I mean, I love my football, you know. And people are gonna say to me, Carl, you shouldn't do that. I love my football, but you know what? I stay away from the game. because I can't sort of tolerate that sort of thing. And you know what? It is 2023 now, and it's still around. I mean, in the 70s, what was it? 40 years ago.
Yeah.
40 years ago, it was there, and it still hasn't changed. 40 years on. You know what I mean? And that is. And people are gonna say, "Carl, the game has changed. The game has changed." Yeah, but it may have changed, but it hasn't changed fast enough.
Yeah.
You know, and that is my thing about it. It's changed, but it hasn't changed fast enough.
True.
That is the situation. You know what I mean? And I know there's guys as well, and there's players there's teams and there's management who's done great work. You know what I mean? Not this and that. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But they're not this and that. But it changed and it hasn't changed. You know what I mean? And I say, it's such a sad thing to say. I must also say as well, those players of British and African descendants, or are the second most wealthiest African Caribbean descendants in the UK. They are the wealthiest. There's the second most wealthiest set of people. Can you believe that in the UK?
Wow.
Only the second. Of all the other institutions, all the other businesses, don't call them a business, but all the other, they are the most wealthiest people. That heritage in the UK. So, that's how far that has come, which is good. You're shocked, aren't you?
I am shocked.
Say something.
I am shocked.
Talk to me. Yes.
I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I just think that it's because sometimes it's like young people, young footballers, and they're the wealthiest, and sometimes they haven't matured enough to deal with that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of makes me think, how do they manage their money? Yeah. You hear some of the things that's been happening. I can't remember the names of footballers, but they get into so much trouble, and women who throw themselves at them or say that this has happened, and it has or it hasn't. I just don't know how they manage that richness, that luxury. Have they got the common sense or the understanding, the education to do that?
They get very good money, and some of them are very, regardless of what you see, regardless of what you hear, some of those guys are very, very good investors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Regardless of the negative, because they're always going to do that. You know what I mean? There's a system out there, they're always going to do that. You know what I mean? But regardless of all the nastiness and the negative and the this and that, there's always some guys who cut their heads through that, and they invest.
Okay.
That's what they do. They invest in the markets and they invest in different things, and that's how they accumulate their wealth.
Okay. See, but you don't hear about.
No,
that,
you're not. But we don't hear about the
negatives
good things
and the scary things.
It's like this program. If we was to have a bunch of million girls running around with no underwear on, you'd see how the views goes up like that.
Oh dear.
You see what I'm saying?
Dad didn't like that image at all.
It's like you see some things out here, some things that how they're portraying us, and you see some girls out there doing this and they're doing that. Everybody go on it. You know what I mean? And that's what happens. So there's always that side, and the good things they don't actually they don't.
It's a sensationalization.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope I didn't make you jump then.
No, you did a bit.
I know. I'm only talking as it is. You know what I mean? I can only talk as it is. Now, there's also, still keeping with the entertainment. You like this one. Entertainment. Now, City Splash. Now, City Splash is what you call the real thing. It's a real deal. And it comes to London. I think it's in London in May, yeah? And you got a lot of artists lined up on this lineup, and it's at Brockwell Park in London. It takes place in May. And we've got the legendary 1 step forward, 2 step backward. Don't need no Babylon. Chichibodo! So I do know my music. The legendary Mr. Max Romeo. Max Romeo is actually on his last tour of the UK. Okay. You know what I mean? So he's there. And Chronix is there also. Jayut is there. Luton Fire is there. Skilly Bang is there. Shensia is there. Stylo G is there. Denio is there. And a whole lot more is actually there. So that will be actually a great concert. And they say it features reggae, dancehall, and Afrobeat artists there. And that will actually have to, as I said, it's at the Brockwell Park in South London, and it's in May. So that will be a good thing to go and see. So yeah, I know you'd like that.
Yeah, okay. Get into London.
Yeah, it's not easy to get into London these days, isn't it? Because it's dear on the trade, and when you can't drive there because you got to pay so much money to
That's right. The clean air, because they got the clean air thing as well. So if you don't know where you're driving,
That's right.
and you end up in the wrong place, you could end up paying a lot of money.
You could end up paying a lot of
It'd be
money.
a very expensive.
Yeah, it is very
fun day.
It is very expensive. Yeah, but I'd like to actually go to that one. It should be quite interesting. I love those. You know what I mean? I'll have to talk to Mr. Producer. Don't forget, guys, to like, share, and subscribe to the program. Now, my rant comes in. I reached my rant.
Where you going?
I don't know. Can I have some water, please? Can you go over there and let me have some water? Thank you. Remember, this is a live program. You like some water, Maureen?
I'm okay.
I got your own bottle there.
I got the steel.
Yeah, you can have one on. I got my own bottle. The guitar went off there. I got to play my guitar. Mr. Producer, you know some water? Now, where am I? Okay, now, my little rant comes in now. Now, in the last couple of years, we see a high rate of robbery. Yes. And I know it's holiday time now. A lot of you guys are going on holiday. It's Easter. The summer is here, and you're going on holiday. And when you go on holiday, you go so. And when you go on holiday, you go so. And when you go on holiday, you go. Hello, I'm on holiday. I'm in here, I'm in Mexico, I'm in the United States, I'm on the beach in the Caribbean, and I'm having a great time. Yes, where am I going with this?
I know, you're letting people know
Thank
that
you.
you're not home.
Thank you.
Come and
so
rob.
what are you actually doing then? Oh, I'm having a nice time. What are you actually doing then? You encourage the burglars to come and burgle your house. That's what you're actually doing. And about 180,000 people was burgled last year who went on holiday. Now, the only person that I only deal with common sense. I don't deal in jealousy and I don't deal in envious. Let me get that clear into your head. I don't understand it and I don't deal with it. Now, the only people that's uninterested in is the burglar. Not your so-called friends. Your so-called friends gonna look at it and say, oh, okay. And your so-called friends gonna look at it and say, okay, and that's it, it's done. The only person that is gonna look at it is the burglar. So when you go on holiday next time, or whatever you're doing, when you're going, look at me, I'm on the beach. What you're actually doing is encouraging the burglars to come and burgle your home. Because say all your friends, or on social media, or on your WhatsApp, or on your status, say all your friends or your true friends, and they can't do it. They're not going to do anything wrong, yes? But what actually happens, you don't just got your friends on your phone. You got a workman, you got a builder, you got a plumber, you got all different people on your social media.
It's true as well.
You know, your contact, can see your contact. Everybody can see. Once you put your status up, everybody can see your contact is. So you got all these different people on your contact. Yeah? And you don't know who is who. You may be very, I know you're a man contact, but you actually may know somebody else. Yeah. And you could say, well, you know, go and do something else. He's gone on holiday, and that's how it works. So when you're doing that, you must actually be very, very careful, because you're just opening up your house to burglars. So when you go, look at me. As I said, the only person that is impressed is you. You're impressing yourself and nobody else, and you're impressing the burglar. Talk to me, Maureen.
It's true, though. It's very risky, isn't it?
That is very risky.
Very risky.
It's very risky.
So you might as well travel first. When you come back the next week, then send out your pictures.
Send out your pictures,
look where I've been.
Yes.
But don't say, look where I am.
Don't send it out when you're out there. You know what I mean? Or when you're not at home. And it's the same thing, you know. It's the same thing if like you go to restaurants or you go to a dinner. You go to a dinner, you go to a restaurant, and you go ping, 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 ping.
Yeah, it's true as well, though, isn't it?
It is true. It's the same thing. I mean, this. I'm the police. I gotta tell you guys, the police tell people not to do this many times. You know what I mean? So when you go ping, 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 ping.
Yeah, but everybody does it, don't they? It's that craze now.
I know.
You've got to be putting it on Facebook and social media.
Is it?
Sad.
Crazy, isn't it? Crazy,
It's risky.
around.
It's risky.
Yeah, crazy. So there you have it, guys. Don't say this is what the police are actually saying. It's not just coming from me. But you know, I like to twist it up and turn it that way. And I'm gonna say, don't forget, when you go on holiday, be careful what you're doing. And be careful what you're sending. Because as I say, the only person that interested in seeing your photographs, or the main interest is the burglar. Yeah, right. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. Now, Maureen.
Yes.
It's Women's Month. And we're at the last in Women's Month. How do you feel about Women's Month? What does it mean to you, celebrating Women's Month?
Well, it's just celebrating all the contributions we've done in the past and all the contributions we have today.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just been recognised for that, really. And it's how we as women encourage each other. We come alongside and encourage each other to achieve greater things. And not just that, we come together when in pain, we share, we talk through, we resonate, we reason out, and we strive together, we rise together. And I think it's all those things and more.
Yeah. What about influential women? Who are your most influential women that you actually look up to? Have a think.
That's a hard one, isn't it? Because there's so many different women who do different things. You have influential women who sing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and there's lots of singers that I love. You know, those who have died premature, like Whitney, just for their voice, and like you mentioned, Marcia Griffiths. You know, I love Doris Day. What's her name? Bette Midler. So I go and Barbara Streisand.
Barbara Streisand, great
you know,
singers.
some of the old singers as well, man, who just were rich.
Great
you know, and there's what's her name? Mahalia Jackson.
You know, the mother of all gospel.
There you go. You know, so there's
that's what I call her. I call her the mother of all gospel.
Yes,
Mahalia
iconic.
Jackson.
Yeah. So there's singers. There's people who have certain principles about themselves, or are very good orators, like what's his name? The president, ex-president now, his wife.
Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama, you know, the way she conducts herself
she's
as
a wonderful
well.
inspiration
Very
woman.
principled, you know, and very passionate about what she does. And that's important. And even, dare I say this name, because it might cause a bit of a ruckus, but Meghan Markle.
Fantastic
you know
lady.
I mean? You know,
Fantastic.
and has a passion for
she's
people.
She's a fantastic lady, yeah.
You know, and she reminds me so much of Lady Diane.
Yeah.
Because Lady Diane, I loved her.
Okay.
Absolutely loved her. You know, and I met her as well.
You met her?
Yeah, way back, but with Prince Charles at the time. But you know, there's just so many women that you can admire. Like even Mahalia
Jackson.
No, not that one. The young lady who was shot.
In London. Sasha Johnson.
No, she was from. Is it not Iran? Iraq. Was she from Iraq?
Oh yeah.
She was shot in.
I know the one.
Because they didn't want her to study or to read. And she came here, and now she speaks out for women, and she's doing really well. You know, so there's lots of amazing women, and my mum.
Of course,
my mum.
Of course. I mean, my mom was a great lady. You know, my mom was a great. All my aunties was great. You know, what I mean, women. Yeah. All my aunties was great. Yeah. A lot of my cousins were great women. You know, what I mean, my grandmother was like my grandmother did it all. You know, my grandmother was the one that brings us into the generation of where we are. I mean, which is absolutely fantastic. A very tough lady, but you know, she had to do what she had to do at that particular time because she was living in that period of time.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So they had to do what they had to do. You know what I mean? And I heard a lot of people say they take offense of how they was treated when they was young or whatever by their parents or whatever. But I always say don't take any notice of that because it's the period of time that I was actually living in. Time was tough. That's all they knew, and time was tough. And like a lot of our parents was just coming out of not our parents, our grandparents, our great grandparents was coming out of the slavery period where it was brutal anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. They didn't know no better.
No, they didn't know no better. Yeah. Now, the other question I wanted to ask, have you ever faced any barriers in your career due to being a woman? Do you think you ever faced any barriers?
I think I have in a way that sometimes you sit back and you think, well, why did that happen?
Yeah.
And you try and work, was it because for me, there's obviously two barriers, isn't there?
Yeah.
You know, can you see them? One's being a woman and one's being black as
No,
well.
I'm not see you as black. You're a beautiful lady. That's what I see. You know what I mean? That's what I see. I saw just a beautiful, wonderful lady. And a wonderful lady actually becomes a friend.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know what I mean? If you want to say you're black, you're not black. You're a brown, beautiful lady.
Okay.
Okay.
So I've experienced stuff like that. I've lost a job because I spoke out about something.
Yeah.
You know, on 2 occasions,
Mm-hmm.
and it was interesting. If I have time to tell you, I worked in a bar.
Yeah.
And I remember 2 situations happened where the punters came in, and the guy who was the boss at the time, he was telling them he was swearing at them really, because he says, can't we have a TV in the building? Can't we have a TV in the pub so we can watch our football? And he swore at them. And I said to him, well, you can't swear at them. You know, they pay our wages, you know.
Yeah.
Strike one. Another time again, I was
you-
making
yeah.
sandwiches on my counter, all clean and that, and the guy comes in, muddy shoes, muddy tracks, because he was playing football on the grounds, and he plonked them on the counter. I was making my sandwiches for the customers, and I said, you can't do that. That's unhygienic. Strike 2. And what the guy did, he set for me. Because when we were serving in a bar, my cousin used to work in a bar as well.
Yeah.
He had somebody come and spy and see that we had some of the customers helping us to wash the glasses. Like they were away from the till, away from the drinks, but we didn't have enough glasses, and it was just my cousin and I.
Yeah.
So he saw that and reported it back.
Yeah.
And there was a room we couldn't let people into.
Serious.
And people were going into that room because we weren't licensed, and I had to keep moving from the bar, getting them out. A woman, right?
Yeah.
Getting them out of the bar and go back behind and serve, and they kept going back in. So next morning, go to work, called into this room. The boss is there with this guy in the corner, and then he says to me, by the way, you know, this, that, and that happened. I explained it. He says, you're fired. You're fired.
And do you think that was because you were a woman or because you were a woman of color?
I think it was both, to
You
be
think it
honest.
was both?
Yeah, I think it was because I should know my place as a woman,
Yeah.
and I should know my place as a black person.
Serious.
I do believe that. Yeah, I do. I believe
Absolutely
that.
ridiculous.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's why I lost my job.
That's a job.
Yeah.
I've had an experience where actually, I would actually say I've actually experienced racial. It was racial, and it was racial. I've actually a racial situation with a and my experience and my knowledge, because what they actually did, I worked for a company, and what they actually did, they hired a lady who was a manager. But lo and behold, me being me, knew all about my job
Okay.
than this manager, because she wasn't in my field. So it's a bit like hiring a cheesemaker
Yeah.
to come and run in a
A gourmet restaurant or something.
no, it's like hiring a cheesemaker to be a musician.
Yeah.
Right. So what happened with this particular? She got the position of the manager, but she couldn't stand it out of me knowing
Okay.
my skills, and I was years ahead of her in my skills, because I was doing my skills a long time ago,
Yeah.
and she couldn't stand the knowing me telling her actually what
get
to
you.
do. I said, no, that's not right, you're wrong,
Yeah.
This is how we do it, we don't do it like that. This is how we do it. Now she couldn't stand that.
Yeah.
And she started on my case, and she did all kind of stuff, and she come around and says, did you do this? Did you do this? We do this. We had a weird experience with a furnace. We used to use a furnace because we used to use a furnace. And what basically happened with this furnace? A lot of people who actually work with know exactly what I'm talking about. What happened with this furnace? We turned this furnace on, and what happened with the furnace? The furnace has lost the timer. So what we had to do then, because the timer that switched the furnace off at the night, switch the furnace off in the night, and then it comes on like 7 o'clock in the morning.
Automatic.
Right?
Yeah.
Automatic. So it wasn't able to come on at that particular time again. So what we do then, what I generally do, the manager before her, what he used to do, say, Carl, turn the furnace off at 4:30 when we finish up work, and then in the morning, turn it on at 7:30 when we start. So the manager, my manager had gone. Now the manager who takes over now, she said, I'll start doing this. When I start doing this, she says, Carl, why do you keep turning on the furnace off? I said, well, basically, we have to do it to save the electric. And basically,
Yeah.
because the timer doesn't go all through the night,
Yeah.
we have to turn it off, turn
Yeah.
it on at 7:30, turn it at 4. Oh no, leave it on. No, what has happened now? The electric start going up, going up, going up, going up,
God.
going up. And what she actually did, she actually put a note on the furnace. Don't touch this. Such and I'm not gonna call her now. Can't call her name. Such and such a person says to leave this note onto this furnace. Don't touch it.
Oh, gosh.
Right. So the manager realized the electric on this furnace was going up and up and
Yeah.
up and up. And what she actually did then, I remember the manager called me once and she says, why is it this keep going up? I says basically, what is happening? And because my manager has told me to leave it on, and she actually left a note on here. I don't know how she get a whiff of the notes, but why I tell my sort of my top manager,
Yeah.
what had happened? She actually rushed round
removed it.
and go remove it. Luckily, one of my colleagues said it to her, and it just started like that. It just carried on and it carried on and it carried on and it carried on like that. And you know what? It became the situation where they actually the manager who was I think a little bit stupid anyway. The top manager, who I gotta say that, who's a little bit stupid anyway. They actually take her sides, and then
Wow.
at one particular time, I didn't care anyway. One particular time, they decided that was making the work was slowing up, so they decided they was going to make people redundant. So I was there for ages, but they decided to make me redundant. I didn't really care anyway. But the thing about this now, because I work in like a very, very special field, the thing about this, what happens then? When I was made redundant, because you know when you make redundant, they ask you to leave on the same day. So they asked me to leave on the same day. Now this lady who wasn't in security, because we got security at this company, we have security at this company, she suddenly decided she wants to search me out.
Oh, my goodness.
She actually saw, she never done security before. She's my manager. She suddenly
wow.
decided she wants to search me out. And I thought, what's going on? Why do you want to search me out? You know what? I hit the roof.
Wow.
I said, you're not effing searching me out at all.
Wow.
I says, call the police. I'm not taking anything. I said, call the damn police. Because I'm not taking anything. But you are not searching me out. She's trying to get a one-upmanship on
Oh,
me.
yeah,
eh?
exactly.
I said, you are not searching me out.
Oh,
and
wow.
then one of the security person comes and said, okay, Carl, don't worry, I'll search you out. And she actually,
Awful. That's awful.
yeah,
isn't
yeah,
it?
she actually, this next manager, you know what I mean, actually said, come on, Carl, I'll search you out. What I try to do, because of her racial motivated, you know what I mean, who comes from, you know, I don't know where she comes from, has this intention, oh, I'm going to get one back up on him.
That's right.
You-
She wanted
you
to
see what I'm saying?
humiliate you, didn't she?
Yes. And it wasn't gonna happen. So you know what I mean. That was just it. So that was it. So I left it there.
Dear.
Anyway, tell me a little bit more about women. There was also another question that I want to ask you about women. Do you think women of color has it a little bit tough comparing to your counterpart or your Caucasian counterpart?
I think.
Is everything sort of equal within that context?
Well, it's not really. It's not
No.
equal because I think as black women, our level of discrimination, I think it's more intense because, as I said, we get it on a double scale, don't we?
Yeah.
You know, we're women and we're black.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, women who are white are women.
Okay.
So I think we will get that measure of discrimination in a sense. It's a double whammy, you know, and doors close on us for two reasons, not one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it is harder, and I think sometimes I don't think white women fully understand what we go through as black women.
And I would imagine it's the same thing for say like places in Africa as well, and you know what I mean, those sort of women in the Caribbean of what we call women of color. You know what I mean? But it's a strange one because you think about women and equality, you think everything should be just embraced, isn't it? And you still got that separation, isn't it?
I know, because it's about learning, isn't it? It's about listening to people's stories, isn't it?
Yeah.
And if you don't listen because you automatically think that everybody is the same, then you're bound to make mistakes. If I think you and me are the same, and then we're going for to a particular restaurant, and you're a vegetarian, I don't know it, I think you're the same as me, so I put down a big whack of food with meat on it, you're going to be offended by that because I didn't take the chance, I didn't take the time to know you and what your likes are, you know what I mean, or anything. I just assumed that you were exactly the same as me. You thought the same way as me. I saw you through my eyes. You should be according to what I say you should be, and that's not really right.
Yeah. Let's see what you said. We talk about we talk about this before. Embracing equity and gender change or gender equality. And we talk about this. I think on our last program we was actually talking about this, about how do you sort of deal with Oh, this is a little bit tricky. How do you actually deal with gender change and equity? Because we was talking about how do you see, well, if you go into let me break it down. If you go to a toilet and see somebody who you know comes out the toilet, and 1 minute there was a man and the next minute there was a woman. How is it? Can we deal with that? Can we do that?
I think it's a hard thing to know how to deal with that, because I always think that you've got to protect both sides of that scenario, really. Do you know what I mean? There has to be proper policies and procedures put in place to make sure no one is getting hurt. Do you know what I mean? And people's needs are being met. That's the way I see it. I'm not going to say what's right or wrong. It's just how do you treat people. People are human beings, full stop. No matter how they walk, how they stand up, how they bend, how they crouch, colours, people are human beings. They breathe life, they breathe air in and out, and on that basis, you treat them with respect. That's what I believe, really.
Right. Finally, have you got any poem for us? You haven't got a poem for us?
I haven't got anything.
You got anything from memory?
Oh boy, my memory is pretty bad. I think I remember one. I couldn't even say anything. I've probably got something on my phone.
Yeah.
But then if it goes off, then you're in trouble. You see.
Can we have
I could sing you a song.
You could sing us a song.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got next to no time, so quickly sing us a song.
Sing a song, okay? Then let me think of a song.
Get your vocals into tune. I'm sorry, my guitar's only got some strings.
Some string. Oh, that's terrible. Okay. I was born by the river in a little tent. I know, just like the river, I've been rolling ever since. It's been a long, long time coming, and I know change go come. Oh, yes, it is. That's all I'm doing.
Well, thank you. Sister Morgan, let me say thank you for coming. It's been great.
Thank you.
You had fun. You had fun. Great. Absolutely marvelous.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. There you have it, guys. Another What's on Your Mind. And I say it's been a little bit special this week because it's 101. And thanks for that. Nobody has ever come on this program before and sing. I've been saying I'm going to take my guitar up many, many times. By the time I get into the show, I got so wrapped up in the show I forget. One of these weeks, I'm going to do You Left Me for Paris. Once again, thank you for tuning into the program. I want to say thank to Mr. Producer. He's been very patient this afternoon. Let me say, and Sister Maureen, let me say thank you for coming. Big shout out to all you guys who take part in our program. So many of you take part in this program, our 100th program. Let me say a big, big thanks to you. I'm going to give the roll call in week 52. Yes, I'm going to try and give the roll call in week 52. Let me say, have a great afternoon. Thank you. Massive respect. Once again, Sister Maureen, let me say thank you.
Thank you.
Big shout out to you, Big Ship Alliance.
Yay!
Big shout out to you. My whole family, let me say big, big shout out to you. God bless you. Look after you. Take care.